If you're just joining us, you're on to the World News Reports on CRTV News. Now, the 2025 G20 summit in South Africa has wrapped up with a joint declaration on multilateral cooperation despite the notable absence of the United States. From global realignment to Africa's growing voice on the world stage, this year's summit has raised important questions about the future of international relations. And to help us unpack the outcomes and what it means for both the global order and the African continent, I'm joined now by international relations expert Cross Foning. Hello, Cross, and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me, Gladys. It's a pleasure to be connecting with you.
So this G20 summit ended with a joint declaration on multilateral cooperation despite the U.S. boycott. From your perspective, what does this outcome mean or reveal about the current balance of power and the state of global multilateralism?
Historically, the G20 has often had to manage internal divergences, whether during the 2008 financial crisis, in debates on climate change, or more recently around international sanctions regarding the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So the fact that it once again succeeded in producing a joint declaration despite the U.S. boycott shows two main things. The first one is that multilateralism remains fragile, but it's not collapsing. And secondly, the global balance of power is becoming multipolar, with several centers of influence capable of maintaining collective momentum. So this reflects a gradual transformation of global governance in the sense that it is less vertical, less dominated by a single power, and kind of more widely distributed.
So South Africa hosted this year's G20 summit, and it also means the first time Africa is hosting such a meeting, and leaders agreed on issues ranging from climate transformation or climate mitigation to global inequality. And so what does this signify for Africa's growing influence in shaping global economic and political negotiations?
From an institutionalist perspective, this summit shows that African priorities are no longer simply consulted, but kind of genuinely integrated into global governance mechanisms. So the fact that South Africa hosted the G20 and that issues such as climate mitigation, development financing, and also global inequality were central to the final declarations kind of confirms this shift. And from a constructivist viewpoint, it also reflects a deeper change in perceptions in the sense that Africa is no longer defined only by its needs, but by its contributions. The continent is now recognized as a strategic actor capable of shaping discussions on energy, ecological transition, and why not sustainable growth.
And so the declaration also spoke about conflicts in Ukraine, Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the occupied Palestinian territory. Now, how significant is the inclusion of Sudan after 2 years of war, and what does it tell us about the shifting of global priorities? Is Africa now having a stand? Well, Chris,
it is indeed unusual for Sudan to appear so prominently in a major international declaration, and its inclusion signals a growing awareness that this conflict, which is one of the most destructive on the continent, and it is important to mention that it has resulted in tens of thousands of deaths and the displacement of more than 12 million people, now has major regional implications, from refugee flows to cross-border security and humanitarian access. So it kind of also reflects a shift in global priorities, in the sense that the international community increasingly acknowledges that all crises, even those receiving less major attention or lying outside the strategic interests of major powers, deserve equal consideration.
Now, looking ahead, the United States takes over the G20 presidency in 2026 amid comments or concerns about its disengagement. How might this transition and the controversies already surrounding it affect the continuity of the G20's commitments made in Johannesburg?
Yes, this is a very tricky point. The fact is that the U.S. presidency comes at a moment when uncertainty remains over Washington's commitment to multilateral institutions, and this transition will strengthen the commitment made in Johannesburg if the United States decide to make them a diplomatic priority. However, if the U.S. adopts a kind of more selective approach to multilateralism, some initiatives may seriously lose momentum. So, for me, the challenge for the G20 members will be, for the other G20 members, will be to maintain a serious collective continuity, regardless of domestic political changes which currently occur in the United States.
Very much, Cross. So thank you very much for your insights. To have a pleasant day.
Thanks to you too, Gladys. It is always a pleasure.
Cross Foning international relations expert reacting to us on a phone call.